50% of South African citizens are still living in poverty. Now, this is according to the Poverty Trends statistics released by Statistician General of South Africa, Dr. Padi Lekgotla. The report provided statistics on the current levels of poverty in the country and how these have changed over time. The report detailed the number of persons living under the various rebased poverty lines, that is, the upper bound poverty line, the food poverty line, and the lower bound food poverty line. These estimates are essential for monitoring and tracking progress towards achieving the poverty targets outlined in the National Development Plan and Sustainable Development Goals.
2011 to 2015, poverty has actually swung upwards from 21% by 4 percentage points to 25%, from 36 to 40%, and from 53 to 55% on the upper bound poverty line. So if we think about the drought, if we think about the negative growth that South Africa is facing, surely the poor are getting impacted, or rather the number of poor is increasing as a consequence of all these other things that are occurring, including, obviously, a drought. Now, what is the number of poor persons in South Africa? We can see that that number has been increasing over time. At least from 2011, you can see that 13 plus 8 plus 8.5, there you get your 30 million.
Let's take a look at some important statistics released for the poverty trends in SA. The upper bound poverty line percentages are as follows. Poor citizens 55.5% and the non-poor citizens cover 45.5%. The lower bound poverty line percentages show the poor at 40% and the non-poor at 60%. And the food poverty line percentages are poor at 25.2% and the non-poor at 74.8%. There were over 30.4 million South Africans living in poverty in the year 2015. Just to reiterate that over 50% of South African citizens are still living in poverty. Now, this is according to the Poverty Trends statistics released by the Statistician General of the country, Dr. Padi Lekgotla. The report provides statistics on the current levels of poverty in the country and how these have changed over time. The report detailed the number of persons living under the various rebased poverty lines, which is the upper bound poverty line, the food poverty line, and the lower bound food poverty line. These estimates are essential for monitoring and tracking progress towards achieving the poverty targets outlined in the National Development Plan and the Sustainable Development Goals. We do remember that some of the things that the Statistician General mentioned earlier on are the key factor being psychosocial issues being key to reducing poverty across the country and how that must be looked at across the board. We are joined now by ANN7 reporter Masechaba Dlamini live for more. Good morning to you, Masechaba. Thank you for joining us. Now, you attended this report or presentation by the Statistician General. Just walk us through some of the highlights that took place this morning.
Greetings to you and to our viewer. We did indeed have a briefing with the Statistician General, Padi Lekgotla, and he was just taking us through the poverty trends. And what we've seen is that unemployment is at an all-time high, and he says that this could be a contribution to many factors. One of the things that he mentioned was areas such as Gauteng as a province where we see a lot of migration taking place, and that's the economy always having to revive itself for all these people that are joining the province. So there are various things that have contributed to some of the poverty trends that we've seen in this briefing and in the numbers. And another thing that was shocking and quite sad for us as a nation is that we find that children are the ones that are at the bottom of this food chain. And it is a worrying factor when you're thinking about children being at the bottom of this food chain, whereas they're going to grow into youth and they're going to have to go to school and such things. So if they are the poorest, it then leaves that line where education becomes a problem, and that's becoming a problem of the future if already they are at the bottom of the food chain at the moment, Kerapetse.
Well, thank you so much for those updates, Masechaba. We do hope that indeed the government does focus on educating these youngsters so we can actually reduce poverty in the 10 to 20 years to come. That was our reporter, Masechaba Dlamini, joining us live from outside of the Stats SA headquarters, where the Statistician General released a report on poverty lines in the country.